Before we crack the code of life's purpose, let's ponder how would Conan the Barbarian answer that? Way back in the mid 80s, I got to see the movie Conan the Barbarian, and the members of my fraternity were awful excited about it. And when I saw it, my favorite scene would have to be extracted from his training montage. I guess it was the first reel, or maybe the second reel of the movie. Um, Conan is seated amongst other students, and the teacher asks one student, "What is the meaning of life?" And the other student starts speaking in a haiku. In the spring, when the steeps are green and the birds are singing their songs upon the tree, and the teacher says, "Wrong." Then he turns to Conan and says, "What is the meaning of life?" To which Conan responds, "To crush your enemy, to see them driven before you, and to hear the lamentation of their women." This, by the way, made it into one of Alan Moore's graphic novels, whose name, of course, eludes me. If you remember the name of that novel, please enter it in the comment area or the chat window. But that's basically what establishment tells us, that if we want to be happy, it's all about power and pleasure. However, our friend, the great scientist, I have trouble pronouncing his name, Theodosius Dobzhansky, back in the 70s, taught that nothing in biology makes sense except in the light of evolution. So let's look at the meaning of life through the lens of evolutionary biology. In the 3-pound supercomputer between our ears, towards the bottom, we have two distinct reward systems. The first one is dopamine oriented. I think that's with an A. There we go. Dopamine oriented. And it's oriented towards pleasure. So, for instance, it has been explained by some science educators that in the movie Men in Black, we saw a old man, and when he was examined by a physician, it turned out the old man was just an old man looking robot controlled by a little teeny tiny alien. We're not different. We are controlled by our DNA. And our DNA are simple. They want to replicate. They want to make sure that our genes, our genetic traits are passed on to the next generation. Our dopamine-oriented reward system is all about procreation and living long enough to procreate. That's it. It's not about fulfilling relationships. It's not about being a good person. It's about spreading your seed. In women, it's about making sure that the finest candidate fertilizes your eggs. If you're a man, it's about just spreading your seed indiscriminately as far and as wide as possible. Once again, that's great for the DNA. That's crappy for you and I. You see, there's a second reward system in the bottom of our brain, and it's oxytocin oriented. It rewards for cooperation and kindness. This is the key to a fulfilling life. If we would ask the Dalai Lama the same question, how are we to crack the code of life's purpose? The 14th Dalai Lama, Geshe Tenzin Gyatso, would say, simply gathered the two collections for the two purposes. But that's, unless you're a scholar, that's not going to make a lot of sense. So what it means is collect the two collections of wisdom and merit. And that can be widely misunderstood. Those who are elitist, who want to exploit us, can coerce us into generating merit by emptying our wallet. The most efficient way to increase our good karma, if there is such a thing, is by traversing the path of love. So, in my view of things, the two collections are, say, I should say, the two collections are of wisdom and love. And ironically, the most efficient way to generate that love, the highest love, is spontaneous and uncontrived, and is best generated not out of fear or coercion or desire, but by practicing mindfulness and letting go. The fringe benefit is that we automatically experience the highest love, which is spontaneous and uncontrived. If you were to hook someone up to an fMRI, when they're frightened, the bottom of their brain lights up. When they're experiencing love, spontaneous and uncontrived, the part of the brain that lights up is known as the anterior cingulate gyrus. The quickest way to get that to light up is through an effective practice of mindfulness and meditation, which we'll explore in just a few minutes. Let's continue with this. The two purposes, gathering the two collections for the two purposes, means mastering the paths of love and letting go for the benefit of self and others. If we're all about me, if we're like Aaron Cartman on South Park, if we're like, screw you guys, I'm going home, we've pretty much lost the boat. There's a lot of people who are like, well, a gal once boasted me about how spiritual she was. And she told me that she and her then boyfriend, or in the past, her and her previous boyfriend, were at a sweat lodge ceremony. And they're sitting there in meditation posture. And he reaches for her hand, and she jerked it away because in that moment, she didn't care about his emotional needs. She just was in it for herself. And she was convinced that made her spiritually powerful. However, the greatest luminaries of every faith have lauded love. Not the love that's contrived, not the analog of love that's driven by shoulds, but the highest love that is spontaneous and uncontrived. Love that rejoices in meeting the needs of others in the most sustainable way. We do this. The easiest way to do this is not only to practice the Buddha's Eightfold Path, but to master it, to get to the point where we're able to practice it spontaneously, habitually, easily, and effectively. These live streams are designed to do that, to give you a working knowledge of the Buddha's Eightfold Path and help you to master it in record time. So our job is to master the Buddha's Eightfold Path and the centered spontaneity it generates. If we do that, when our choices and our utterances and our deeds flow from this centered spontaneity, everything else takes care of itself. And that, my friends, is the meaning of life. You want a meaningful life? Master the Buddha's Eightfold Path in a way that allows centered spontaneity to guide your choices, utterances, and deeds. I do look forward to chanting and meditating with you after about 40 seconds of housekeeping. This is Lama Jigme Gyatso of the Buddha Joy Meditation School. For more than 30 years, let me rephrase this. I spent more than 8 hours a day for more than 30 years studying, practicing, and then reverse engineering all the teachings and techniques of each school of Buddhism so you would not have to. I get to play the Yoda to your Luke Skywalker so that you can quickly and easily become the person that your dog already thinks you are. Welcome to Meditate Like a Jedi, which is made possible due to the generosity of viewers just like you. So this is our text. You can download it for free anytime you want. Master this text and you will have mastered the Buddha's Eightfold Path. So briefly, this text was composed by a fellow named Dujum Lingpa a very long time ago. Less than 50 years ago, Tuku Tondap supervised the translation of this text into English, and this book, what stands before you, has adapted and amplified it so that us American barbarians can master the path in record time. We're going to begin. So there are three main functions, or I should say 4 main functions on the path on the Dzogchen path of enlightenment. There's Sutra and there's Tantra. And Tantra's 3 subdivisions would be Mahayoga, Anu Yoga, and Ati Yoga. We begin with Anu Yoga, Tantra's energy work. This is known as calling the Lama from afar, or Lama Kyeno. Now our job is not to take this literally. Our job is not to pray to real or imagined entities, for that just makes us into mewling, petulant infants. We play with these words because it helps to guide our energy in a way that supports our meditation. So let's chant this together 3 times. So we'll put our hands in a puckered palm position overhead. Almajo Lama, please come to this crown. No infallible, constant protector who knows all Dharma things. Almajo Lama, please come to this crown. No infallible Dharma protector. Oh, infallible, constant protector who knows all Dharma things. Almajo Lama, please come to this crown. Oh, infallible, constant protector who knows all Dharma things. By the way, it's super easy to become a Lama. Either technically once you complete your first 3-year retreat, people call you Lama, and it's really kind of cool. Personally, I prefer people do a 7-year retreat where they accumulate 10,000 hours of formal study and 10,000 additional hours of formal meditation. You can become a Buddha in, a week. That doesn't mean you're able to help people to replicate your results. That's just my experience. I found that getting 10,000 formal hours of study and an additional 10,000 formal hours of practice can give you a solid base from which to help others. But I may be mistaken. Now, we're going to, as a child, we probably learned how to ride a bike. And in preparation from that, our secondary caregiver most likely bolted 2 training wheels to our bicycle to prevent us from plummeting 24 inches to the pavement. So we're going to start this morning's meditation with 2 metaphoric training wheels. So therefore, we're going to start with super clunky 12-syllable exercise. Now, every time we inhale, whether we know it or not, we access our sympathetic nervous system, which is wired to help us to perceive the turbulent play of mind. So what are some of the antics of mind? Our mind, with its supporting organs, sees, hears, feels, tastes, smells, and the like. Our mind also emotes, intends, reasons, recalls, and imagines. What do we do with that which we notice? Well, as we exhale, whether we know it or not, we wind up accessing the parasympathetic nervous system, which is wired for both physical relaxation as well as mental release. So as we exhale, we relax into mind's non-graspable nature. So let's recite this right now, silently and mentally, in harmony with our inhalation and our exhalation. And remember, the moment you have a specific question about Buddhist meditation, Buddhist philosophy, or how to apply them, simply type your question in either the chat window or the commentary below the video, depending upon whether you're watching this live stream live or as a replay. So this is known as Ati Yoga Tantra, but actually, in all honesty, it is known by many names, such as mindfulness meditation, or Satipassaddhi, Zen, Proto-Zen, Chan, Dhyana, Mahamudra, Mahasandhi, Ati Yoga, Dzogchen, and of course, Treksha. Now, despite these fancy names, noticing and releasing is what it's all about. Because it's so efficient, we don't have to squander time, hours, months, years, actively contemplating. It's enough to simply chant a facet of Buddhist wisdom and then return to meditation, and everything else will percolate, will take care of itself. So our first sutra contemplation is that of our precious human life, which nurtures joyful enthusiasm, also known as the sixth fold of the Eightfold Path. Now, by the way, you may wonder why we keep having this piece of art depicting two copulating Buddhas. And I assure you it's not because of pseudo-spiritual porn, but it reminds us of the individual, the color of a cumulus cloud, is sporting in there's a wonderful turn of phrase that eludes me at the moment. Please bear with you. But she's sporting in tantric union, having a wonderful time. Her partner is just kicking back and enjoying the experience, which reminds us of awareness and release, awareness and relaxation, the essence of mindfulness and meditation. So let us chant together 3 times. And this time our hands, our puckered palms are going to be in front of our sternum. We know that because when it's blue, it's in front of the heart. When it is white, it's over the head. Together. It is extremely difficult to find such freedom and opportunities as we have. It is extremely difficult to find such freedom and opportunities as we have. It is extremely difficult to find such freedom and opportunities as we have. And now we're going to remove the first of 2 metaphoric training wheels and reduce our meditation exercise from 12 syllables down to just 3. As we breathe in, we could silently and mentally recite and notice this, and as we exhale, we could silently and mentally recite relaxing. Welcome to this morning's group practice. If at any point at all you have a specific question about Buddhist meditation, Buddhist philosophy, or how to apply them, simply type your question in great detail in the chat window. We come to the second sutra contemplation, of impermanence, which is the key to the wisdom of letting go, the first fold of the Eightfold Path. Together. Bing permanent, everyone who was born will die. Bing permanent, everyone who was born will die. Bing permanent, everyone who was born will die. People who are prone to patriarchy try to use this to frighten themselves into practicing out of fear of going to real or imagined hell. But the wise who practice this don't try to frighten themselves. They just remind themselves that impermanence makes clinging pointless. And now we remove the second of two metaphoric training wheels and reduce our meditation exercises to just one syllable. As we breathe in, we could silently and mentally recite the demonstrative pronoun this, and as we exhale, we could silently and mentally recite the monosyllabic verb ease, which functions as a synonym for relaxing. Of the verb relax. We come to our third sutra contemplation of interdependence, a key to loving kindness, the second fold of the Eightfold Path. So basically, think of it this way. We have hands. We can use them to shove, or we can use them to hug. We can use our hands to make people sad or make people happy. Together. The results of our virtuous and harmful actions are inevitable. The results of our virtuous and harmful actions are inevitable. The results of our virtuous and harmful actions are inevitable. So here's a for instance. I am neurodivergent. I have a host of health challenges. So sometimes I have the remarkably strong impulse to have a meltdown. And so sometimes I can have a meltdown on the inside, and on the outside, behave myself. One can be honest with oneself. One can be honest with others without being cruel, without being inconsiderate. One can be vulnerable and gentle and still authentic. Let's continue. So during the opening explanation, we explored 10 different labels to play with. Reducing them to one syllable each requires a bit of poetic license. So when we are labeling let me go back for a second. Normally, just working with this and ease is fine. But sometimes you will feel emotion so strong, it's going to feel like the school bully is grabbing you by the lapels and shaking you like a French au pair. So when that happens, playing with labels can be a wonderful way to not to repress the present moment experience, but to harness it in such a way that it drives the shafts and wheels of, metaphorically speaking, the enlightenment machine, which is deliciously ironic. So if we're experiencing a strong physical sensation, whether it's pleasurable or painful, we could refer to it as form. If we experience a strong emotional sensation, we can label that feel. When we experience a strong memory, we can call it then. When we experience a strong imagining, a flight of fancy. We can refer to it as a dream. So our job is not to obsess over finding the perfect label every 30 seconds. Our job is to notice, kick back and notice the show, watch the show. If you feel the need to label at one point because you're in turmoil, which is just par for the course, it's not an indictment, and the moment you were not served by perfectionistically seeking the perfect label, just play with whatever label you feel drawn to in the moment. And if in the next moment you feel drawn to another label, then play with that one. It's messy, but so is life. Think about the first time you made love. You weren't very graceful, were you? You weren't very competent. Hopefully, over the days, weeks, and months, you got pretty good at it. So, similarly, give yourself permission to have a learning curve. Don't beat yourself up. We come to the fourth sutra, contemplation of stress, which can be a key to enhancing our compassion. For our awareness of our stress makes us sensitive to others' experience of their stress. Let's chant. The three realms we experience are samsara cycle, or like an ocean of suffering. The three realms we experience are samsara cycle, or like an ocean of suffering. The three realms we experience are samsara cycle, or like an ocean of suffering. We come to the fourth sutra, contemplation of supplication, a key to enthusiasm, the sixth fold of the Eightfold Path. Remembering this made my mind turn toward Dharma. Remembering this made my mind turn toward Dharma. Remembering this made my mind turn toward Dharma. This brings us to the 6th Sutra contemplation of seeking refuge, a key to right enthusiasm's 6th fold of the 8-fold path. From now until I reach a very heart of enlightenment, I take refuge in the Lama who embodies the 3 jewels. From now until I reach a very heart of enlightenment, I take refuge in the Lama who embodies the 3 jewels. From now until I reach a very heart of enlightenment, I take refuge in the Lama who embodies the 3 jewels. We come to the 8th Sutra contemplation of generating conventional bodhicitta, bodhicitta's loving intention, the 2nd fold of the 8-fold path. From now until samsara is empty. So, by the way, the moment you have a specific question about Buddhist meditation, Buddhist philosophy, or how to apply them, simply type your question in great detail in the chat window. I'll be happy to answer it. From now until samsara is emptied, may I bring about benefit and happiness for all beings as if they have each been my kind mothers. From now until samsara is emptied, may I bring about benefit and happiness for all beings as if they have each been my kind mothers. From now until samsara is emptied, may I bring about benefit and happiness for all beings as if they have each been my kind mothers. So, those of us adults who are neurodivergent, whether we are autistic or suffer from ADHD or both simultaneously, which is more fun than the barrel of monkeys, will sometimes experience meltdowns. The key to being honest with what we're experiencing without being cruel to others is meditation. So, when you feel yourself losing your shit internally, this is where mindfulness comes in because you can notice it before it translates to your behavior. As you breathe in, you can silently and mentally recite the label feel, and as you exhale, you can silently and mentally recite the verb ease. This will not make the emotions go away, but it will harness the momentum of the emotions to serve you upon the path of noticing and releasing. Ironically, harnessing even our most turbulent experiences can actually turbocharge our journey upon the path of enlightenment. We come to Tantra's mandala offering training in generosities, kindness, of communication, conduct, and commerce, the third, fourth, and fifth folds of the Buddha's Eightfold Path. To perfect the two accumulations, I offer the body's wealth and splendor of all my lives of the three jewels. To perfect the two accumulations, I offer the body's wealth and splendor of all my lives of the three jewels. To perfect the two accumulations, I offer the body's wealth and splendor of all my lives of the three jewels. And we return to Hatha Yoga Tantra, the seventh and eighth folds of the Buddha's Eightfold Path. We come now, we return to Yoga Tantra's energy work. This is what we recite is not to be taken literally, but as a figurative tool to help our energy in a way that supports our meditation. Let's chant. And since it's white, that reminds us to place our cupped palms over our head. Dorje Samba inseparable from my Lama is above the crown of my head. Nectar flows from him, purifying my obscurations of Vajrasattva. Dorje Samba inseparable from my Lama is above the crown of my head. Nectar flows from him, purifying my obscurations of Vajrasattva. Dorje Sampa, inseparable from my Lama, is above the crown of my head. Nectar flows from him, purifying my obscurations of Vajrasattva. We're now going to perform the sutras. Oh gosh, I lost count here. Let's try this again. 8, so this is 9. Excellent. Okay. Okay, this is Sutra's 8th Contemplation of Right View, Emptiness Review, the first fold of the Buddha's Eightfold Path. Hands overhead. As we relax into our exhalation, whatever we notice during our previous inhalation could feel as non-graspable as a vast empty void. As we relax into our exhalation, whatever we notice during our previous inhalation could feel as non-graspable as a vast empty void. As we relax into our exhalation, whatever we notice during our previous inhalation could feel as non-graspable as a vast empty void. Like the illusion of the infinite azure sky on a bright and beautiful cloudless morn, which although compelling to the eye is not graspable to the hand. Like the illusion of the infinite azure sky on a bright and beautiful cloudless morn, which although compelling to the eye is not graspable to the hand. Like the illusion of the infinite azure sky on a bright and beautiful cloudless morn, which although compelling to the eye is not graspable to the hand. And now let us rest our mind. As we breathe in, we can silently and mentally recite the demonstrative pronoun this. As we exhale, we can silently and mentally recite the monosyllabic verb ease, which is a synonym of relax. Welcome to the live stream. If you have any questions at all, simply type your question in. Let me rephrase that. Any questions about Buddhist meditation, Buddhist philosophy, or their application? Simply type your question in great detail in the chat window. Sorry, there's certain questions I'm not available for. I can't tell you how many licks it takes to get to the center of a Tootsie Pop. Tube. Come on. Here we go. So we come now to the Wisdom of Letting Go's Maha Yoga Tantra, the first division's mantra contemplation, which helps us to leapfrog over circumstantial clinging. Therefore, we can conclude that what follows is a wisdom practice. We're going to play with two rhetorical questions. The lengthy one we're going to verbally and recite. The silent one we're going to mentally recite. Hands overhead. How is it that as we inhale, all common lots of circumstances could appear quite vivid? Yet as we relax into our purifying exhalation, they could feel as non-graspable as a real or imagined paradise or vati of light. How is it that as we inhale all... Let's try this again. How is it that as we inhale, all common lots of circumstances could appear quite vivid? How is it that as we inhale, all circumstances, our common lots could appear quite vivid? How is it that as we inhale, all common lots of circumstances could appear quite vivid? Yet as we relax into our purifying exhalation, they could feel as non-graspable as a real or imagined paradise or vati of light. Yet as we relax into our purifying exhalation, they could feel as non-graspable as a real or imagined paradise or vati of light. Yet as we relax into our purifying exhalation, they could feel as non-graspable as a real or imagined paradise or vati of light. As we breathe in, we can silently and mentally recite the concise version of the same contemplation. However, and this is exciting, as we exhale into the verbal recitation of this 6-syllable mantra, we can physically relax, thus viscerally experiencing non-graspability. Om Vajra Salva Hum, Om Vajra Salva Hum, Om Vajra Salva Hum, Om Vajra Salva Hum. Om Vajra Salva Hum, Om Vajra Salva Hum, Om Vajra Salva Hum, Om Vajra Salva Hum. Om Vajra Salva Hum, Om Vajra Salva Hum, Om Vajra Salva Hum, Om Vajra Salva Hum. Om Vajra Salva Hum, Om Vajra Salva Hum, Om Vajra Salva Hum, Om Vajra Salva Hum. So if you're ever in a situation, so if you ever wanted to, you could recite this contemplation silently, dividing it between the in-breath and the out-breath. There have times when I've been harangued by people, and playing with this contemplation was really, really helpful, or at least in that one like it on a future page. We come to the wisdom of letting go's Mahayoga Tantra, the second vision's mantra contemplation, leapfrogging over physical clinging. Together. How is it that as we inhale all common bodies or forms could feel quite sensual? How is it that as we inhale all common bodies or forms could feel quite sensual? How is it that as we inhale all common bodies or forms could feel quite sensual? Yet as we relax into a purifying exhalation, they could feel as not graspable as a real or imagined archetype or yadam of light. Yet as we relax into a purifying exhalation, they could feel as not graspable as a real or imagined archetype or yadam of light. Yet as we relax into a purifying exhalation, they could feel as not graspable as a real or imagined archetype or yadam of light. Om Vajra Sarva 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 We come to the wisdom of letting go's Mahayoga Tantra, the third vision's mantra contemplation, leapfrogging over interpersonal clinging. How is it that as we inhale the interpersonal experience of common communication, all speech could be quite resounding? How is it that as we inhale the common As we inhale, the interpersonal experience of common communication or speech could be quite resounding. How is it that as we inhale, the interpersonal experience of common communication or speech could be quite resounding? Yet as we relax into our purifying exhalation, it could feel as non-graspable as a real or imagined mantra of light. Yet as we relax into our purifying exhalation, it could feel as non-graspable as a real or imagined mantra of light. Yet as we relax into our purifying exhalation, it could feel as non-graspable as a real or imagined mantra of light. Om Vajra Sattva 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 And now we return to Hatha Yoga Tantra, the 7th and 8th folds of the Eightfold Path. As we breathe in, we could silently and mentally recite the demonstrative pronoun this. As we exhale, we could silently and mentally recite the monosyllabic verb ease, which is a synonym of relax. The moment you have a specific question about Buddhist meditation, Buddhist philosophy, or how to apply them to your life, type your question in great detail in the chat window. Now it's time for the wisdom of letting go's Maha Yoga Tantra, the fourth vision's mantra contemplation, leapfrogging over mental clinging. How is it that as we inhale, we could perceive mind's functions quite clearly? How is it that as we inhale, we could perceive mind's functions common functions quite clearly? How is it that as we inhale, we could perceive mind's common functions quite clearly? I think I should put an apostrophe there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, here we go. Yet as we relax into our purifying exhalation, they can feel as non-graspable as a real or imagined seeds of a boom of light. Yet as we relax into our purifying exhalation, they could feel as non-graspable as a real or imagined seeds of a boom of light. Yet as we relax into our purifying exhalation, they could feel as non-graspable as a real or imagined seeds of a boom of light. Om Vajra Salva Hum, Om Vajra Salva Hum, Om Vajra Salva Hum, Om Vajra Salva Hum. Om Vajra Salva Hum, Om Vajra Salva Hum, Om Vajra Salva Hum, Om Vajra Salva Hum. Om Vajra Salva Hum, Om Vajra Salva Hum, Om Vajra Salva Hum, Om Vajra Salva Hum. Om Vajra Salva Hum, Om Vajra Salva Hum, Om Vajra Salva Hum, Om Vajra Salva Hum. We return to Ana Yoga Tantra's energy work. It's blue, so we're going to be placing our hands before our sternum. Dissolving into light diamond, mind, mother and father, blend with me an experience of heart's oneness. Dissolving into light diamond, mind, mother and father, blend with me an experience of heart's oneness. Dissolving into light diamond, mind, mother and father, blend with me an experience of heart's oneness. Now, you could intelligently ask, why do you repeat so many things 3 times? There's plenty of reasons. Here's one of them. I don't know which country you live in, but the country I live in is becoming less and less democratic and more fascistic with every passing year. And as Tibetan refugees can tell you, just because you could live free one day doesn't necessarily mean you will live free the next day. And so those Dharma practitioners who memorized their practices were able to practice them anywhere, anytime, without mala, without accoutrement, without texts. And personally, for someone with ADHD, mnemonics is a near impossibility, but I still strive to condition my mind to remember these lines, no matter what happens. Now, I'm not a masochist. I'm a lazy, hedonistic coward, and I prefer to be fed, grapes in a lap of luxury. I don't always get my way, and so sometimes it behooves us to have contingency plans. That's weird. Let's see if I can't fix that. I appear to have hit the wrong button, which is really lame. Let me see if I can remedy that, and of course I apologize for any inconvenience. We turn now to Lama Nalajor, which translates into Sanskrit as Guru Yoga. Let's chant. Hands overhead. How am I like Dorje Naljor in the sky in front of me? My Guru Lama could appear in the form of Padmakara. How am I like Dorje Naljor in the sky in front of me? My Guru Lama could appear in the form of Padmakara. How am I like Dorje Naljor in the sky in front of me? My Guru Lama could appear in the form of Padmakara. Embodiment of all Buddhas of the three times most excellent Lama, I pray to you. Embodiment of all Buddhas of the three times most excellent Lama, I pray to you. Embodiment of all Buddhas of the three times most excellent Lama, I pray to you. Hold me with your compassion in this and future lives, and in the Buddha bless me always throughout the three times. Hold me with your compassion in this and future lives, and in the Buddha bless me always throughout the three times. Hold me with your compassion in this and future lives, and in the Buddha bless me always throughout the three times. We come to love's Mahayoga Tantra, mantra contemplation, leaping over circumstantial competition and replacing it with cooperation. Hands in front of sternum. May all circumstances or lots of all beings now have that safety, good fortune, or boon, as a Buddha's real or imagined paradise, pure land of Avanti. May all circumstances or lots of all beings now have the safety, good fortune, or boon, as a Buddha's real or imagined paradise, pure land of Avanti. May all circumstances or lots of all beings now have that safety, good fortune, or boon, as a Buddha's real or imagined paradise, pure land of Avanti. Om Ahum Vajra Guru Manmaziri 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 Loves Mahayoga Tantra, mantra contemplation, leaping over physical competition, replacing it with cooperation. May whole bodies of all beings now enjoy the beautiful health depicted in Buddhist thought. May whole bodies of all beings now enjoy the beautiful health depicted in Buddhist thought. May all bodies of all beings now enjoy the beautiful health depicted in Buddhist thought. Of the blissful body of a yidam of lore and archetype of enlightenment. Of the blissful body of a yidam of lore and archetype of enlightenment. Of the blissful body of a yidam of lore and archetype of enlightenment. Omahum Vajra Guru Manmaziri 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 We come to Love's Mahayoga Tantra, mantra contemplation, leaping over interpersonal competition, replacing it with cooperation. Hands before sternum. May all relationships of all beings now be as loving and joyful as a. May all relationships of all beings now be as joyful, loving, and joyful as a. May all relationships of all beings now be as loving and joyful as a. Real or imagined Buddhist communication symbolized by this 12-syllable mantra. Real or imagined Buddhist communication symbolized by this 12-syllable mantra. Real or imagined Buddhist communication symbolized by this 12-syllable mantra. Omahum Vajra Guru Manmaziri 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 We come to Love's Mahayoga Tantra Mantra contemplation, leapfrogging over mental competition, replacing it with mental cooperation. May all minds of all beings now be as wise and peaceful as the mind of. May all minds of all beings now be as wise and peaceful as the mind of. May all minds of all beings now be as wise and peaceful as the mind of. A Buddha of Lord Sambalasvaya, one suitable seed bija mantra ati clay drop. A Buddha of Lord Sambalasvaya, one suitable seed bija mantra ati clay drop. A Buddha of Lord Sambalasvaya, one suitable seed bija mantra ati clay drop. Om Ahum Vajra Guru Manmaziri 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 We return to Anu Yoga Tantra's energy work. Hands before sternum. May I receive all the blessings and empowerments of enlightenment from speech and mind. May I receive all the blessings and empowerments of enlightenment from speech and mind. May I receive all the blessings and empowerments of enlightenment from speech and mind. Please place your puckered palms overhead. Benzo Guru Kaya Waka Sita Siddhi Hum. Please lay your hands palm up in your lap. Benzo Guru Kaya Waka Sita Siddhi Hum. Please place your puckered palms before your throat. Benzo Guru Kaya Waka Sita Siddhi Hum. Please place your left palm over your navel and your right palm over that. Benzo Guru Kaya Waka Sita Siddhi Hum. Please place your puckered palms before your sternum. Benzo Guru Kaya Waka Sita Siddhi Hum. The Lama dissolves into light and blends with me in our hearts' inseparability. I behold the true face of the ultimate Lama. The Lama dissolves into light and blends with me in our heart's inseparability. I behold the true face of the ultimate Lama. The Lama dissolves into light and blends with me in our heart's inseparability. I behold the true face of the ultimate Lama. The union of spontaneous awareness and emptiness. The union of spontaneous awareness and emptiness. The union of spontaneous awareness and emptiness. You'll notice the superscription is white, so let's place our puckered palms overhead. I pray to the protector. Oopsie. We're going to start at our sternum and then migrate to above our head. I pray to the protector, Amitabha, bless me that I may master the profound path of Pawa. Faye. I pray to the protector, Amitabha, bless me that I may master the profound path of Pawa. Faye. I pray to the protector, Amitabha, bless me that I may master the profound path of Pawa. Faye. We come to the final meditation of this morning's session. Tantra's Cho, slicing offering, training in generosities, kindness, of communication, conduct, and commerce, the third, fourth, and fifth folds of the Buddha's Eightfold Path. Hands before sternum. I now give my body wealth and virtuous qualities wholeheartedly to all beings as if they had each been my kind mothers. I now give my body wealth and virtuous qualities wholeheartedly to all beings as if they had each been my kind mothers. I now give my body wealth and virtuous qualities wholeheartedly to all beings as if they had each been my kind mothers. This is our final meditation, so make it count. Let us seal this practice with a bit of the old well wishes. Without hindrance may I ensure enormous benefit for all beings. Without hindrance may I ensure enormous benefit for all beings. Without hindrance may I ensure enormous benefit for all beings. If you feel that I have earned it, you could give this live stream a thumbs up. You could even help support this channel if you so desire. In approximately 10 hours or so, I would very much like to return to lead today's evening meditation class and group practice. And if you are as geeky as me, this is the way.